Alright guys, I want to talk about the issues surrounding Aquaman 2. And the question I'm going to raise that pretty much sums up this entire situation is, simply put, what the hell is going on? Honestly, without going into details about all the problems with this movie and with this company, I could probably end the video right then and there. But let's dive into some details. First of all, let's look at what Warner Brothers and DC has done thus far, a couple of months until we actually hit Aquaman 2. This year alone, they've had 3 box office catastrophes: Shazam 2, The Flash, and now Blue Beetle. No one cares. No one's going to the theater to watch those movies. I am a big believer that the general fan base, the people who really make up interest in these movies, are not interested in DC anymore. Hardcore DC fans may be, but general audience members aren't. Even if Blue Beetle is a good watch, even if it is fun, if it is a good movie, at the end of the day, business-wise, it does not matter because this movie is hurting their company. So what would Aquaman do for a year of DC that has just been a complete travesty? A year for DC to forget, to move on from, and never look back. This has got to be one of the worst financial years for them in history. I mean, also considering too that The Flash made history books for doing terrible things financially for their company. So where does that put Aquaman 2? What type of situation is waiting for this film? Well, with the complete mess that this film has had to go through, production hell, script changes, reshoots, poor test screenings, constant delays, it's shaping up to be another failure for DC and this movie at the end of the 2023 year. This movie entered film production in 2021. It finished in January 2022. And here we are, almost 2 years later, with this movie still getting delayed. Where is a trailer? Where is a first look of Aquaman 2? We are at the end of August. This movie drops December 20th. We're not far off, and we still don't even have a sneak peek. They didn't even give a trailer to Aquaman before watching Blue Beetle in theaters. I'm confused. A lot of the outlets say that the reason why Aquaman keeps getting delayed in reshoots is because they believe this movie can be really good. They have hope in this movie. But then on the other hand, the fact that you still haven't even given us anything feasible, anything to sink our teeth into or grab onto, not one trailer, not one sneak peek, would prove to me otherwise. And how many times do we have to hear from this company that they have hope in a movie, that this next DC movie is going to be outstanding? Best thing we've ever seen. It's better than The Dark Knight. Since that seems to be Warner Brothers and DC's go-to comparison, it's better than The Dark Knight. It's better than The Dark Knight. It's better than The Dark Knight. Shut up. It is a lazy, poor comparison, and honestly, it's quite pathetic. Trying to take a legendary DC movie from your own company and trying to compare it to superhero films that are so generic and typical, it feels like we get this exact story 3 times every single year. We've already heard that with The Flash, best movie since The Dark Knight. We're even hearing it with some people with Blue Beetle. It's the best DC movie ever, or it's the best DC movie in the DCEU. And I guarantee you it's gonna start to happen with Aquaman if they can finally get this movie's feet off the ground. Even too, when you look at some of the narrative issues that this film is having, the fact that Michael Keaton's Batman was supposed to be in this movie and that Walter Hamada wanted him to act as a Nick Fury figure and he was gonna pop up in movie to movie to assemble some BS Justice League team. And then when the merger happened and Pamela Abdi and Michael DeLuca came in and started giving their feedback, trying to get Ben Affleck back into the picture, having Henry Cavill show up in Black Adam, and then all of a sudden that has now been scrapped from Aquaman 2, so there is absolutely no Batman at all. But apparently there are parts in the film that are getting scrapped, like there are big fight scenes that no longer belong in the movie, or there are character dialogues with one another that don't take place anymore. That is why this film has had a horrendous amount of 3 reshoots. I don't think there has ever been as many reshoots and test screenings for any movie in history than there has been for The Flash and Aquaman 2. Since 2021, if not before, it feels like The Flash and Aquaman, especially The Flash, have gotten test screenings once or twice a month for the past 2 to 3 years. It's terrible. But the thing is, with Aquaman, the more it gets test screened, the worse it gets. People are not sitting right with this movie. People are saying it is a very poor film, and no matter how many times they reshoot and try to change things, it still is not helping their case. And speaking of reshoots and changing things, how about we look at it from this perspective as well? We want to say that The Flash didn't do well because of A, B, C, D, E, F, all the way to Z. There is an unlimited amount of reasons why the Flash movie underperformed. But one of the biggest reasons may actually be the fact that Ezra Miller is the main star. The movie is solely centered off of his character. And a lot of people, general audience member or hardcore DC fan, does not want to support a movie in which Ezra Miller starred in. You are looking at a very similar scenario with Amber Heard as Mera in Aquaman 2. So not only are people not looking forward to this movie because of her, considering she plays a supporting character in the Aquaman world, people don't want to watch a movie in which she might be in and in which she might be playing a very big role in, the same way as Ezra Miller. This movie will suffer no matter how much she's in it. If she's in it for 5 minutes or if she's in it for 15 to 25 minutes, the movie will suffer all the same. Yet, with all these reshoots and all these test screenings, it's still said she plays a solid role in the movie. That's not going to be good for them. And obviously, because of so many reshoots, this means you have to get the company heads into the picture. You got to get producers into the picture. And James Gunn and Peter Safran were involved with these latest reshoots. But let's look at co-CEO Peter Safran. This is a guy who apparently likes Amber Heard. He is on the side of Amber Heard when it comes to Johnny Depp and their whole trial. That's not what this video is about. What I'm saying here is Peter Safran has to be stupid if he does not see the backlash that Amber Heard is getting and will continue to get if she's in the movie, and the fact that he hasn't considered removing her from the film. Also, too, when are they going to learn that Peter Safran is just not the answer for this company? I have a lot of doubts about James Gunn, but even more so I have about Peter Safran. This guy is not the answer to produce your movies for future success. Other than a bunch of B and C level films, he's done Aquaman, the 2 Shazam films, and Suicide Squad with James Gunn. Only one of those 4 films was a financial success, and I'm still telling you guys to this day, Aquaman is an anomaly. That movie was a success by a bunch of other factors that made it a success. No one was expecting that movie to hit 1 billion, and do not expect this second one to hit that much. Oh, but Tyrell, he's done The Conjuring and Annabelle's and all that horror universe. Yeah, I don't care. Just because you're somewhat successful in one genre does not mean you can transfer that into another genre. All that has been proven to me is he is just bad with DC films. And now Peter Safran is going to tie his name to another DC film that's going to bomb. As producer for a movie and now the co-CEO, the financial side of DC, the whole point here is to be saving money for Warner Brothers and DC. Warner Brothers especially can't afford anything. They are in a huge amount of debt, and they know this moving forward into future movies, especially when their current DC movies right now is a bomb after a bomb after a bomb after a bomb. So if his job is to save money for the company, why is Aquaman 2 a $205 million budget, which will only have escalated who knows how much after 3 reshoots? If I was David Zaslav, I'd be like, buddy, what are you doing? What are you doing with the position that I gave you? Because this is nonsense. Let's just be generous and say this movie has gone from a $205 million budget to $240 million budget, okay? That now means this movie has to potentially crack $450 million to be profitable in any way. And even that might not be enough to give them any bit of the profits? You know that saying of you gotta spend money to make money? Well, they have a much different concept than I think a lot of us have, in the sense that they spend money to lose money. Now, when you look back at this entire situation, you think to yourself, okay, you canceled Batgirl because it would have been good on their taxes. But one has to wonder, why wouldn't you have canceled Blue Beetle, considering Blue Beetle was made for streaming services? There are even people saying that they went to see this movie in IMAX, and they 100% know that this movie was not intended for theaters. And in hindsight, when you look at all of these movies' box office disasters, Shazam, Flash, Blue Beetle, you could have made an argument that these movies all should have been canceled as well, or at least just given to streaming services so you can avoid your box office failures. I know there's the argument to make that, well, if Aquaman is pushing a $250 million budget, then we need to bring it to theaters to make some of that money back. But we all know that no matter how much money they make in the box office, because chances are it's going to be under $300 million, none of that money is going to go to them. And so now you take a movie in which had that high of a budget and is also apparently 2.5 hours long, and a vast majority do not want to watch it, do not want to support it. You're also going to release it in a time where we're only 3 to 4 months away from the film. We haven't had one trailer. There's not many details that's actually talked about it other than the details of disaster behind the scenes. We're still in a writer and actor strike that literally do not seem to be ending anytime soon, in which these actors and writers cannot talk about this movie in any way. They don't have much time to promote this movie further. What's the point? And there's also been discussions of pushing this movie into 2024. Don't do that. Don't do that. I've already been very vocal on this channel how 1 year is not enough for DC to take a break. We need multiple years. In my opinion, you at least need a 5-year break of a DC connected universe. Moving another DCEU movie into 2024 with the DCU kickstarting in 2025 is a massive mistake. And even when you think about it then, that's not even really how it works. You have 2 DCU TV shows in 2024 that is actually the beginning of the DCU, and then you would have a DCEU product being moved into 2024. It's too much. It's already too much the way it is right now. That would make it infinitely worse. So what the hell is going on with this movie? I don't know. I have no answers for you. This is just some of the very big problems with this film, and even beyond that, with this company. Things are more than likely only going to get worse from here for this film and DC as a whole. But even with their worsening situation, we don't know anything about Aquaman 2. And if there are things we do know, it's still not much. So now I want to hear from you guys in the comments below. Let me know some of your concerns and some of your opinions on this situation, and maybe we'll get some sort of detail moving forward on what they choose to do with this movie and when we'll get our first trailer. But that is it for this video, everyone. So until next time, I will talk to you all very soon.